Welcome to my presentation of my security project number two, identifying and exploiting security vulnerabilities. In our executive summary, let's see here. There we go. The customer has requested security assessment after adding a new system, a production server to their virtual network. They are concerned about the security of this new system and want it evaluated for potential vulnerabilities. In addition, they have asked for their existing web server to be tested as well. So in this, I'm going to identify and document security vulnerabilities on both the production server and the web server. I'm going to demonstrate the real world risk by successfully exploiting two identified vulnerabilities. I'm going to confirm that at least one exploit on each server results in a root level access. And then I'll illustrate the potential impact of showing examples of sensitive information exposure obtained through elevated access. Also demonstrate persistence risk by creating a privileged backdoor account on each server. Um, I'll be operating from the Kali Trusted within the client's network. We'll use the terminal to identify and enumerate potential vulnerabilities. For any vulnerabilities associated with the CVE numbers, I will document and present their CVSS scores to indicate the severity. Vulnerabilities without CVEs will be noted where applicable. We will then validate these findings by attempting controlled exploitation and document any sensitive or exposed data discovered on the servers. Based on these results, I will provide security recommendation and help mitigate identified risk and strengthen the overall security. So here we have a network map of the trusted network, which has the Kali Linux, the production server. There's the router in the middle. Then below we have Kali Linux in the DMZ zone, along with the web server. And we have our untrusted network on the right in red. As you can see, I installed the production server into the virtual machine located at the bottom, highlighted in blue. So we're going to find vulnerabilities on the production server. So what we're going to do, I added to the production server, we're going to use the nmap and the nmap minus script vuln commands and include the documentation of the names, CVE numbers, and CVSS scores. Here's an nmap of the trusted network to identify the target. As you can see, we located the target production server at 192.168.0.18. And as you can see, all the open ports for like TCP, the SSH. And then down here at the bottom, we have our trusted Kali Linux. Our first vulnerability found on the production server was VSFTPT version 2.34 backdoor. This had a CVSS score of 10 and the open port was 21 TCP. The second one was the slow Loris DOS attack. It had a CVSS score of 5 and it was on TCP 80 port. The third one I found was the SS Poodle with a score of 4.3 on port 5432. The fourth one I found was the MySQL vulnerability. It had a score of 5.1 on port 3306. I found a fifth one on the production server as well, the RMI registry. I wasn't able to find the CVE number, but it was on port 3306, and this vulnerability looked interesting because it allows loading classes from remote URLs, which can lead to remote code execution. So I'm going to exploit two of the vulnerabilities that I found. I'm going to use the first and the second one. Then I'll provide proof of exploiting these vulnerabilities as well as a successful backdoor account created with root access to the exploit production server. So on this one, I chose the VSFTPD version 2.3.4, and I created a backdoor on the production server with root permissions. We set the rhost to the 1.192.168.0.18. We hit options. then run. And as you can see down there, we found shell. And then I typed in who am I? And then it said root. And then yeah, this I created a backdoor account on the production server. As you can see, I created a user ad. I added Nick, and then it already said Nick exists because I already previously added it when I took this screenshot. I used the shell command and interpreter console, and then established the new user ad using user ad space minus OU zero minus G zero Nick and set a password. And then on this image on the right, you can see I added the user here at the bottom. Now we will go to, so here, there we go. So here in Metasploit, we're going to go search, and then we're going to go for the first exploit, which is the VSF TPD. There it is right there. We're going to type in U0. Okay, there's all that. We're going to hit options. Whoop, gotta spell it right. There we go. There's target. The port, we're going to set the R host to the production server at 192.168.0.18. And then we're going to hit options again just to double check. There you go. It's the correct server that the production's running on. That's the port 21. Now we'll hit run. And since I've already done this, it's telling me that the port is already open. And I already did the shell on it and created a user. And there you go, exploit completed. So yeah, there it is. Now we'll flip back to here. Okay. On this second one, exploit, I did the slow Lars DOS attack. In the MS-conf, used MSF console in the search functions and identified the exploit for the attack. Check the options, then set the R host to 192.168.0.18. Hit options again to double check, hit run, and as you can see, all the different sockets down here in the screenshot are opening, and then it allowed me granted me access to shell or root privileges. All right, now we're going to jump into vulnerabilities found on the web server. I'm going to identify those the same way using nmap and nmap script vuln commands to figure out the names, CVE numbers, and CVSS scores. Three of the four CVEs lists were also found on the production server as well. So here's just a screenshot of the nmap target using the web server. As you can see, 10.200.0.12 is the IP address of the web server. And it's the same story. All the ports are open for FTP, SSH, the domain, all of these. And so the first vulnerability I found on the web server was the VSF TPD version 2.3.4 backdoor. Same score as 10 and on the same TCP port 21. Second vulnerability I found on the web server was SSL/TLS MITM vulnerability. It was a CCS injection. Had a score of 7.4 on TCP port 5432. The third vulnerability I found on the web server was the SS Poodle. I had a score of 3.4 on the TCP port was 5432. Oh, on this one, this was like a man in the middle tap attack to obtain clear text data with padding. So this one looked kind of interesting as well. On to the fourth. The fourth one on there was the slow Loris DOS attack. Had a score of 5.0, and this was on port 80. And this one also had a denial of service attack. So that's why this one looked interesting also. Then I found a fifth one, Diffie-Hellman vulnerability. I was unable to find the CVE, just like the RMI registry on the production server, but I was able to find the port 5432. This vulnerability looked interesting because it has a transport layer security, and it may be susceptible to eavesdropping attacks. So I'm going to exploit two of the vulnerabilities I found on the web server. I'm going to use the first and the third, and then prove that I'm able to get root access on the web server. First one was the SS Poodle attack. Used the MFS console and the search functions and it identified the exploit for the attack. And then checked the options, set the R host to the what was it a 10.200.0.12, hit run, and then it started running. And then I was able to grant access and root privileges on this exploit. The other one was the VSF TPD version 2.3 and 4. I was able to create a backdoor on the production server with root permissions. And as you can see at the bottom here, I found the shell, and then who am I? I'm root. Some interesting things I found on the production server was after gaining root access, I went to using the RMI registry exploit, I explored all the different files. The image on this left right here displays sensitive information on the production server. Like the list, the boot, bin, all the different things that allow you to navigate through the terminal. And on the right over here, this displays user files, which could contain compromising information. Up over here, and then about halfway down, it's information for a recipe. So just interesting things that I found on the production server. And then all the eight project questions, I won't go through like meticulously every through each one, but it explains, one through eight using terminal and then Metasploit and all the sudo nmap commands to access IP addresses. And on number two, you're going to see all the different CVE scores and for the production server and the web server. And then on three, this displays all the different what I use, like terminal and Metasploit, and then the commands, like MFS console, use zero options, set our host to the IP address, run. Um, Number four, just telling you I use Metasploit and how I searched, how I found the ports, the commands that I would run with option, run, set the R host to the IP address, and then finally, who am I to confirm that I had root access to the production server. Number five, an attacker gaining root access via an exploit means that they achieve complete system control. They could steal sensitive data, alter configurations, install malware, or cause financial loss. Number six, I created my own account on the server for root access control. This allowed me to view and copy etc. password and etc. shadow directories containing usernames and password hashes. And then the term covering your tracks is when an attacker removes or hides digital evidence to avoid detection, forensic analysis, maintaining stealth, and continued access by manipulating logs, timestamps, malware using rootkits or Trojans. And then the last one, my recommendations are on this next slide. I would say all TC ports are currently exposed and reachable. I displayed that in one of the screenshots earlier. I recommend to close any non-essential ports on each server as an initial security measure. Patch any identified problems. Implement stronger firewall rules for the router firewall to protect the network from potential threats and unauthorized intrusions, and then ensure strong authentication methods such as multi-factor authentication and use strong passwords. That was my presentation, and I appreciate your time.